It is the Champagne Rugby Podcast. Tony Lyall here with James McOnie today to talk about the Super Rugby quarter-finals and Super Rugby Pacific. McOnie, what a weekend. I'm sure you haven't wiped the grin off your face after spraying mana all over the walls here at the ACC studio.
I know there's so much mana, but, you know, it looked like we were going to trip up. Even when I visited the Chiefs yesterday, and, of course, it's usually an exciting time, I couldn't help but say I turned up I turned up today because I felt like this could be the last time I get to interview you guys after watching what happened on Saturday. They didn't take kindly to that. Yeah. You know, to that honesty bomb, that truth bomb. But it was just one of those moments where you just go, holy shit, it's precarious. The Reds looked like they were going to do the business, and they were playing with that kind of like, there was a cocky Australianness. Yes. They're chirping. You could see every single time there was an Australian going, how do you like that, mate? 4 more years or whatever, 12 more months. And then you could see a Chiefs face going, oh, fuck, you know, where's Luke Jacobson? He turned up and was very good, by the way.
He did turn up, and it was the nearly biggest upset, I would say, in Super Rugby playoff history. 1v8 in the first quarter final. The Reds, the only team to trip over the Chiefs during the regular season down there in the Naki, and it almost looked like they might give it another nudge. Unfortunately, fortunately for you, I'm not going to lie, there was a little bit of me that thought, oh, here we go. This could be good chat here.
You can imagine it's hard enough basically commentating that, and you could see we had quite a buzzy, you know, there was a vibe, you know. Yeah. We had the song, Mana's in the air, everywhere you look around, and it was sort of like ding, 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 ding. It was a good vibe. Woo! Woo! And then about 60-minute mark, we were going, Joe Jury plays the song, and we're like, oh no, okay, we'll sing it. And it's actually a good way to get yourself out of the funk, out of that. And I'm not talking about funk as in the music. I'm talking about out of the sort of the dip and the depression of like, oh shit. But you can't really use depression like that anymore. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you get JK walking down a beach with a stick in no time.
That's right. I don't want JK. Actually, it'd be quite good to have JK in the podcast.
It would. He would really be dropping some truth bombs and sitting back and not adding much more to the conversation other than that. Yeah, well, another
thing is, I guess what I was going to say is, watching the ACC and commentating on the ACC is not a bad way to get yourself through your team having a bit of a shitter, because you've got something, you know, it's either it's entertaining whether you're watching or you're commentating, and so it sort of helped a bit. But then I was thinking, oh man, this is probably the best team we're ever going to put together, like the best team. Brodie Retallick's leaving. Yeah, you know, he's gone. So we've got the greatest lock possibly in rugby history leaving, and then Damian McKenzie. Or, you know, the planets are aligned for this team.
It's so outrageous to do that, at the moment.
Yeah, to do that and just to see the Queensland Reds turn up with the cabin boy who, my goodness, Tate McDermott is such a great player. He is the heart and soul of that team. But, it was, I know, I was going to say my phone blew up with lots of mates going, are the Chiefs the Greg Norman of rugby and all this kind of shit? Like, I got so many texts from people going, oh, if Michael Liner's son could kick, you'd be in fucking trouble. You know, like this? Yeah. I was like, okay, all right. But thank goodness Jacobson came on. Yep. Peter Gus, Stubby Cooler, totally redeemed himself.
He turned it around.
Yeah, he really did. So I don't know where you were, Tony Lyall, but you can describe your evening. You're probably licking your lips going, oh, good, we're going to have fun with McOnie this week.
Well, I was, where in God's green earth was I? I think I was in the tropical island nation of Fiji, to be honest. And was over there on a glorious holiday, and I tuned in on my phone and was shocked and surprised. And it's one of those ones where you're on a lovely holiday and you kind of want to be going and sit by the pool and have a margarita, but you find yourself staring at your phone. I was watching it on the Tribe app, so I wasn't actually watching it in real time on the television and just seeing the scores go up. And I thought it was on for young and all. It seems by the replays that I have watched subsequently, James O'Connor also had a bit of a day out, really showing the form. I saw somewhere he started playing for the Western Force in 2008. And wherever you are, think whatever you were doing in 2008. And I'm sure there's no way you're doing it as good now. What's that? 15? Is that 15 years? It's outrageous. Yeah. It's simply outrageous.
Yeah, he is. He was a lot blonder. He was very much the Bieber back in the day.
He was.
I think the Western Force, the story about him as as a schoolboy, or not Western Force, but, Super Rugby, whatever the TV show over in Western Australia. Perth Today did a story on him, and he was like going to a school ball and all that sort of stuff, and he loved, pizza, so they built a pizza oven in his backyard, his dad did,
When they went full exhibit.
Yeah.
Full exhibit, Pimp My Ride. It was. Pizza oven in his pizza oven so he could pizza oven while he pizza ovens. Well, let's start. We've already started talking about that game, so let's just carry on and talk about the Reds. It was the second game of the week. I think we've got some highlights here of the call. You and G Lane going absolutely off the rocker and potentially proving why it's a bad thing to have two fervent fans of a team commentating a playoff game that they're in.
He does. McKenzie with the 44th kick of the half. He kicks it to Vunivalu. Vunivalu, he won't kick it, he'll run it straight. Vunivalu.
Oh, what a hit! Gugushka! Summer Pine Fina, take a bow!
Wow!
The text line, by the way, just give up on that.
Just over 5 minutes left in the match. It's 22-20 to the Chiefs. Here comes Lurch. Here comes the Chiefs runner.
Oh!
George Geyer. Picky go, Peter Gust. Stubby Cooler.
Oh, yes! The Stubby Cooler!
Love is in the air, everywhere I look around.
Chiefs, man, there's some big energy there, McOnie. Tell us about the vibe in the studio for that last moment.
I think I was breaking all the rules of commentary. Even G Lane might have sent out an email talking about different roles and all that sort of stuff. Although it was one of those weird games. The vibe at the start was I was noticing how many kicks there were. So G Lane, I love the way he leans into things. He was saying that every kick was making him hard. So there were 92 kicks.
Yeah.
So by the end of it, you can imagine how hard he was. 92 bloody kicks.
That's a lot of kicks. That's a massive erection as well, can I just say? Like, if you were to take your penis from 0 to 92 in terms of a percentage...
over 80 minutes.
It's a very, very firm object by the end of it.
Yeah, so there was that matter. Although, weirdly, for a game with 92 kicks, by the way, the next best is about 45 or something. So they doubled it. For a game with 92 kicks, rather exciting.
Yeah.
And also nerve-wracking. And you mentioned James O'Connor, how he had a bit of a day out. It amazes me that throwing a skip pass is considered high art now. It's like, he cut them out. I'm like, oh, mate, just come back to lunchtime at Hamilton Boys. We're all throwing the fucking skip pass, mate.
Next going to be like, a dummy cut. He's revolutionised the game.
It's like, that's an old school play. It's like the same with the kick pass and that.
Yeah.
That is a 1980s move, same as the 50-22. I can tell you now, the kick pass was employed because nobody could pass off their left hand. So if you had a good right winger, you had to kick it to them. And you tried to kick it to them on the full, or we used to, because that was actually, the easiest way, because the ground's so muddy that it would possibly just stick and not even bounce, It was so shit. And then the 50-22, that was our entire freaking tactics. It was like, you get the ball, you just plug it down in the corner.
Yeah.
And so now you get rewarded for the shittest tactic I think I ever remember in my rugby career. Because I think the bomb was probably the next shittest, but at least the bomb had this level of excitement to it. Like the bomb would go up and everyone's like, fuck, what's going to happen here? Is the fullback even going to catch it this time? Who knows? He's only 14. He's only just grown pubes and he's going to catch his bomb,
I have to say that the 50-22, I don't think they realised how easy it is. I don't want to say easy like it's super easy, but how not hard it is to kick a 50-22. It's not that big a distance. A 40-20 in league, it's a bigger distance away, and the teams are positioned differently on the field. It is, but it's a harder kick as well. The 50-22 is like just not that hard, and it's a massive reward for doing something which doesn't take... Like, if I was coaching a team, I'd be like, this is all we're doing. Anytime you get a chance to kick there's no reason why you're not doing it the whole game.
The ball doesn't have to go in the air. You can grubber a 50-22. I think Peter O'Mahony did for Ireland and stuff. He accidentally kicked a 50-22.
Yeah, you get in hookers kicking them. Yeah. Peter O'Mahony. Yeah. Hooligans that should not be kicking the ball. They're getting encouraged. They're slapped on the back.
The other thing is, one of the tactics from, again, rugby's going back to the old school One of the tactics was a ridiculous grubber that I remember I was watching Alan Langer do the wobbly oscillating grubber rather than the end over end. So you just, and it was mainly in rainy days, you just do, I'll try and handle this fucking thing. And it would just be wobbling around.
Yeah.
If you did one of those down 50-22, if you don't get the 50-22, you're probably going to get a knock on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is, coaches, pay attention.
We've got all the ideas.
Can you log in and give us 5 stars, please? You know?
Yeah, it would be nice if you did
Donk.
give us 5 stars.
Clayton McMillan's nickname is Donk.
I just want to say as well, McOnie
know why?
Narawa, that try, I think it should have stood. A great piece of individual brilliance. Chip and Chase catching it. He's just kind of he's shoved the guy in the back, but he's more just trying to get him out of the way so he can get the ball. I think we've got to give him the benefit of the doubt on that one.
Can I also say that when you said glorious holiday, I thought you were going to say glory hole day.
Well, there was some of that.
Yeah, was there?
Yeah.
Oh, because I was thinking, is that in that? Remember that resort hedonism that they'd always show on Sky One or one of those channels that always had like
the Wild Woman, the Ripping and the Tearing.
Yeah, was it called
Hedonism
Wild?
2?
Yeah, Wild,
Hedonism 2. What a place.
Wild On. Was it called Wild On?
Yeah, Wild On.
And then we came along and took the wild thing. Anyway, that would be quite a good name for a holiday at hedonism. Would be Glory Hole a Day.
Glory Holiday.
Yeah,
I'd go to that. Hey,
we'd all go. ACC would actually happily sponsor that or be sponsored by that.
I think for sure.
Yeah.
Printed on the arse of the uniform. So 29-20 in the end, winning. 9 points is a fairly comfortable win in the playoffs, but geez, there was some tight bum holes down there in Hamilton.
That was shocking.
And there'll be some tighter bum holes this week as they take on the Brumbies. But let's go back in time slightly to the Blues playing the Waratahs in Eden Park. 41-12 they ended up winning. And a bit of a non-event, you'd have to say. The first maybe half looked quite tight, and then the Blues comfortably coming out the back end of that one. Michael Hooper saying, see you later, to his playing career in the Super Rugby colours of the what colour is it? Just blue? Sky blue?
Yeah, it's kind of a sky blue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Old Hooper Stank. He's been a tremendous player, but I always feel like he seems to be destined to be the player who gives a really sort of heartfelt loser's speech, losing captain speech. But who knows? Is he captain of the Wallabies? I mean, so they've got the good side of the draw at the World Cup. Could Eddie Jones jag them a bloody World Cup victory? Could Michael Hooper go out, the ultimate losing captain speaker, could he go out on top?
I mean, it's a decade of losing the Bledisloe Cup. He was captain of the Wallabies when he was 22 years old, which, again, is outrageous. I think he has won a Super Rugby title. So he's got
2014.
One under his belt. But other than that, it's been pretty lean run. And he reminds me of the player. Like, you'd always play against him growing up, and there'd be like a team that wasn't that great, but there'd be one player on it, and you're like, mate, if you were just in a better team, you'd be a superstar. He's kind of that guy who's always just head and shoulders above the rest of the team, but just can't quite get the group around him to support him in all the ways that he needs.
He is actually does. You do know that team, don't you? You remember it where, and always at the end of the game, your coach would talk to their coach and say, "Oh, that buddy number 7's pretty good that you got there, buddy. Hold on to him." And then next year they'll poach him for their school, Dalton Papali'i styles. I think he went to St Kitts from Sancta Maria College, but the excuse is I don't think Sancta Maria, which is a Catholic school in the south of Auckland, southeast, I don't think they had a first 15, so they had nothing for a Dalton Papali'i to play in at that point.
What they were like, you can play water polo.
Yeah, exactly.
Like. Yeah, a little bit of golf, maybe potentially, a bit of golf, Dalton.
Yeah, we've got lots of teams for you, Dalton. There's badminton. There's lots of indoor sports as well. We've got a lovely gymnasium. Have you thought about that, Dalton?
Well, I think we do have a little bit of a highlights package here from that game, the Blues versus the Waratahs. If you'd be so kind, Mr. Producer.
Back, but it's being picked up by the Waratahs. Here they go. Up through. Penisse, and they'll score first. The Waratahs, Penisse, carved them up through the middle. And it's Ned Flanders who opens up the scoring for the Waratahs. It's 5-0. Enough time for the Blues to get back and support them. They go the short side, the Blues. Quick pass up to AJ Lamb. Into St-Stolahim over halfway. Into Ioane. They've got the numbers here. Finlay Christie for the try line. Scores! What a try to the Blues. Leap to the field stuff. and it's 8-7.
Goes to the back. Down.
It's on the 5, come up.
The drive on.
Oh, wow.
Here comes Riccatelli.
Momentum, baby.
Here they come. Here come all the Blues. Riccatelli for the line. Try. Ricky Riccatelli. The human ice cream scores for the Blues. Teddy Wilson and Talia's got the intercept. They won't catch him. Mark Talia will score for the Blues against the run of play. And the score's 36-7.
Oh, he's such a slippery individual, and he's so good to watch.
Yeah, they ended up really blowing them out of the water in the end, and for their troubles, they're going to go down to Christchurch where, they're going to have a cold and lonely night out down there against the Crusaders. You have to think, a couple of players I thought played pretty well. The big ginger, Red from the Tasman Marco, fins up. Finlay Christie, thought he covered himself with glory, both scoring a try, setting up a cuppie, stopping a cuppie. He's a classic. I don't want to stereotype people. I don't want to come on the show and stereotype people based on their physical attributes. But classic rangy ginger, isn't he? He's knocking the ball out of people's hands, grabbing it around, scoring tries. He's a pest.
He's a gritty Scot. He's the Scottish gymnast. He was a elite gymnast apparently. He's got massive hands. If you met Finlay Christie's hands like buckets. So I'm not surprised he knocked that ball clear.
Yeah.
You quite often see him quite nicely scoring, dotting down from the back of a ruck because these huge hands come in and he just grabs the ball and just goes dunk and moves it less than 1 metre, 30 centimetres to the line. I watched some of that game, but of course, like a lot of New Zealanders, we got wind that the Warriors were doing quite well, and that it was pretty tight at half time. And of course, my other WhatsApp group, the Crow Goes Wild WhatsApp group, they were all watching the Warriors. So I switched over, and for one of the greatest second half performances in the history of the Wars, and of course, you had that feeling that the Blues were going to do it, and they did.
Yeah, also one of the greatest F-bomb drops during that game in the ACC commentary. I think McOnie Stewart really shat the bed there. I don't know if we can whip that up. I'm sure someone will drop that in.
How did the Warriors
here we go.
Didn't Zach Wilford think he was smart? Now, Elliot Whitehead, the captain, into the fucking line.
Into the fucking line.
I love to hear it. Just a complete blowout. Forgetting the words and just chucking in whatever's next in the next cab off the rank, and it happened to be a big old-fashioned fuck.
Into the fucking line. Do you know what? I actually think that's the best F-bomb because, some people say it for effect. Victoria Edmonds got sort of like criticised for her F-bomb, which I thought was fantastic when Waikato finally beat Canterbury, who was so good at Farah Palmer Cup level.
Oh, yeah.
And she goes, fuck yeah. And, of course, straight after the broadcast has to go, we apologise, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, I get it, but the apology makes it sound like they've done something really bad. But I'm sorry, there's plenty of fuck years being said all around, playgrounds right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fuck years going on. In fact, my daughter said to me, because I was always saying shiitake mushrooms or, whakatane or some kind of like euphemistic,
you're being
covering it up. And she said, Dad, it's okay. I've heard it all. I'm a school kid, man. I go to school. Yeah.
You can stop talking about these mushrooms as if they're really drinks every time you smash your foot on the coffee table.
Yeah. The worst was, holy shite balls. But even that's probably quite bad.
Well, that's actually worse because you're discovering shit-covered balls.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, the balls have probably just, been in the process of being involved in some sort of, anal sex situation.
That's the thing. What was but this is in more recent times, though. I think, when you've got a young kid, you're pretty much avoiding every swear word right up until, sort of high school years. And I think
this
it was
is news to me, and as a parent of 3 kids, can I just, if my kids are listening, sorry for all the effing and jeffing I do around the house. Because, I figured they may as well hear it from me rather than someone else. So, I just sort of let loose.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I probably, they would have definitely... They definitely hear you swear because, you drive in Auckland traffic, right?
Yeah, this is true.
So, there's definitely shit going on. I remember when I first heard my mum swear, that was kind of like the craziest moment of my life, really. It's like a robot malfunctioning, really.
Totally. It's like seeing a horse walk on its hind legs.
Exactly.
You're like, it's not quite right.
What's going on?
And that's the moment you realise that your parents are just people too. Giving it the best shot. You're like, they don't have their shit together. And we're sort of veered
Everybody
into...
says fucking shite balls, all right?
Everyone says fucking shite balls. What more do you want from us? And I'll tell you who were saying fucking shite balls, and that was the Fijian Drua. Come all the way over here from Fiji to go to Christchurch on the coldest night of the year to play a fired-up Crusaders and get their pants pulled down well and truly. This is after beating the Reds the week before to make the quarterfinals back in Fiji, and I was in Fiji for that game, and can I just tell you, that was a vibe. Everywhere you went, this staff were not interested in paying attention to you at a restaurant, pouring you a beer. They were crowded around televisions watching the Fijian Drua beat the Reds, and I joined them and watched it.
Excuse me?
Well,
Can I get some loaded wedges over here?
At the time, the Highlanders were still in the hunt for a quarterfinal spot, and they actually needed the Reds to beat the Fijian Drua for that to happen. So I was not well loved in Fiji by sort of cheering for the Reds against the home team. They weren't big fans. But of course, they did win that game, booked the trip down to Christchurch, where they got well and truly spanked. 49-8 in the end, and just looked like one game too far. You almost think if they were to play in anywhere else, in any other climate, they might have had a better shot. Even if they were to get that game against the Blues, or, even if they were to play the Chiefs in the afternoon sun in Hamilton, they might have had a better shot. So almost punished for coming 7th as opposed to 8th, where the Reds got to play the Chiefs. But yeah, one game too far. A couple of moments of brilliance, but overall, Crusaders just too bloody good.
Yeah, I didn't really watch that the game. I think that was straight after the Chiefs, so there was kind of a hangover period of like, oh my God, what would we just see? That was nerve-wracking, all that sort of thing. I think I brought some peanut M&Ms for G Lane. He hoovered them up like a hungry hippo, like he just... They're his catnip. If you ever want to get on the good side of G Lane, peanut M&Ms.
Yep. Well, they're the best M&Ms. Anyone who's buying just chocolate M&Ms, go fuck yourself. It's horrific. You need the peanut M&Ms in the middle of it to really satiate that. It gives you like a little bit of hunger. You're not hungry anymore. But if you're eating just chocolate, you can eat them all day long.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, they're not as good. Have you tried the peanut butter M&Ms?
Yeah, not a fan. I like the texture of the peanut inside. It sort of adds some crunch. It just feels like a smushy... I don't like those lollies that pop in your mouth. You know that sometimes they'll have a gel centre and you bite them and they sort of jizz inside your mouth.
The jizzing inside the mouth thing. I'm not used to that either. And even if it is sweet jizz, I'm kind of thinking, you need to say what you're doing, and then I guess that's what the sensation is. Yeah. When sour lollies came out, I was thinking, no, I'm spending my pocket money not to get some kind of like screw up my face. Yeah, I've got lemon trees at home for that shit. Hit me with your fucking jet planes, with your bloody eggs. The eggs, the volcanoes.
Eggs, great. Volcanoes, the nipples, delicious.
Yeah, volcano nipples for the win. They're my favourite lolly. Yep. If you want to impress me, you buy me those. If you want to get down G Lane's pants, it's peanut M&Ms.
Yeah, it goes without saying, not a big fan of jizzing in the mouth here at the Champagne Rugby Podcast. Put that on the door.
Not with the lollies.
No, not at all. And the last game of the round, and this one, it's been controversial. The Brumbies versus the Hurricanes in Canberra. The Ardie Savia try in the last minute to win the game, but the ref said, not on my watch, buddy. Fuck. It's held up the Brumbies victorious 37-33. They booked themselves a date with the Chiefs in Hamilton this weekend. And what's your take on that last minute try, no try, James McOnie? Let's get it on the record.
On the record, it looked like a try, but whoever obscured the view, there's someone's pants, someone's ass is in the way of when Ardie grounds the ball, and it's those are the pants of God. Yeah. Whoever's ass that is, they deserve an Australia. Well, they're in Canberra, they can go and get a medal straight away, can't they? Because that's the only thing that saved them.
The arse of God.
The arse of God, and also the Aussie director. Yeah. There must have been another angle that they sort of went, no, they need to see that one. We've already shown them a lot.
I always wonder that. There's countless cameras on the pitch. You see a dozen different views at all times, and then it comes to review a try. They're like, yeah, we've got two angles on this. One is of a man's whole ass, and the other is you can't really tell what's going on.
Exactly, the one that's the end on with his sort of 7 defenders trying to hold it. I know, because I remember covering one on Crowd Goes Wild. We were covering the game, and I saw James Slipper elbows Sam Cane in the face, and they never showed a proper replay of it.
Yeah.
They sort of did some weird sort of jog mechanism where you can kind of see it and fast forward, and it's
They were like,
I'm pretty sure it needs to be in slow motion. And they sort of went, nah, sorry, mate, we haven't got anything on that. It was definitely a red card.
Yeah.
Because it was elbow to the face on the ground as well. So a sort of dirty old school red card. And no, they refused to show it. So I wonder if those angles will ever come out, or whether the tapes are just burned straight away. Like afterwards, the truckers basically set fire to. They're all running from the OB truck. They're looking behind them at Canberra Stadium going, the truck's on fire.
It's on fire. Yeah, you'd think that a bunker situation where there's some sort of impartial person who's actually controlling the videotape might not go astray these days now that the TMO is used in such regard. Literally deciding a game based on the evidence provided by, the director, who is probably some dirty Australian who's, not to be disparaging to Australians, but, I'm imagining this guy probably is.
I think he was a dirty Australian.
Yeah, I think we could go on the record and say that.
Yeah, I think the, because, how clean are you at that time of night?
Not clean at all. It didn't look very hot. Everyone looked rugged up. I forget how much of a shithole Canberra is. Everyone looked so freezing in that crowd. And you have to say a lot of chat about it saying, they are robbed, but they really should have scored a try. They had about 4 or 5 penalty advantages, a metre out for the last 8 minutes of the game. Like, if you can't get over from there, maybe you don't deserve to be in the semi-finals.
Also, I thought there was a turnover in the first ruck that they went to, and I thought, here we go. But Nick Berry was being a mate, and he said, play on, play on, play on. Then at the end, he wasn't so matey. But I feel like Nick Berry, because as a former player, they always look at the game a little bit differently from your average bog standard referee. So he was quite kind to the Hurricanes a lot of that game.
Yeah.
When Devon Flanders scored that try, that scrum had screwed way beyond the 90.
Yeah.
So literally half of the Brumbies team, or more than half, was facing in the other direction. So there were no forwards. I think
the ball came out the same channel as well, which is a classic reset. But no, they were like, oh, shit, just off you go, boy.
Off you go.
What a run, though, from the big man. About 60 metres, just galloping like a stallion someone's left the gate open. I don't grow up on a farm. I don't know how it works down there.
It is a bit like, it was a stallion. He was very, and then there was one back who couldn't run. That's Deb Rossini. He's about, I don't know how old he is, but he's played for about 12 teams in Super Rugby. And then the winger, I didn't think he wanted a bar of him. When you get alongside a stallion, you go, he's a bit bigger than what I'd hope.
His legs are going fast. If I get my head in there, that's going to really suck.
Yeah, everybody's going to hurt from this one. Like it's no one. Well, I'm going to hurt if I make this tackle. So the Flanders one, there was a couple of decisions. I saw this late tackle by Yorser, and it was just as they were winning a ruck where the guy, the Hurricanes guy, didn't go back through the gate, and I think the Aussie commentators were going, I'm pretty sure this is a penalty all year, but Nick Berry let it go, and so they were starting to have their misgivings about their own bloody ref, but it's because he is what you'd call a different. He's a bit skew-whiff. He's a bit of a dodgy ref, right? But the problem is you live by the dodge and you die by the dodge.
I agree with that.
That's what happened. Dodgy refs will come back and hurt you.
Yeah, you call that sort of 50. It's bobbling all over the show, so you just got to take it. And you got to suck it up. And ultimately, there was no footage of the ball on the ground. Whatever you say, the bit of the ball you couldn't see had no other place to be apart from the ground, but you couldn't see it. So you got to suck it up, Hurricanes fans. And my take on that is, if the Hurricanes fans complain about this, then they can no longer ever complain about the Ash Dixon try in the 2015 final against the Hurricanes, which they bring up every single year, saying, he didn't score it. He didn't, Elliot Dixon, the try down there, saying he didn't get his hand down, he didn't score it. It's the same exact thing. That was more of a try than this was a try, and they're saying this should have been given. Well, then that should have been given, and I am drawing a pretty big bow here, but I will stand by that. They need to either be quiet about that one or be quiet about both of them.
Yes, which was the other one, sorry?
The old Elliot Dixon try in the 2015 final where he hung it out and it sort of went up in the air and he slapped it down and he didn't think he'd scored it at first, and then they gave it, I think Bodie thought he got his boot under it, and every year people bring that try up and say, I didn't score it, man. The Hurricanes fans.
The Hurricanes got shafted twice there, so what are you saying? Who's sucking what up?
No, I think that they can't complain about both. They can't complain about both.
Okay, yeah.
It's not my greatest point, all right?
If it happens to you, Hurricanes fans, yeah, I know what you're saying, but the evidence there was, I feel like it was pretty clear that wouldn't be given a try now.
Yeah,
Elliot Dixon. But then there's so many tries over the history of rugby where you go, Oh, yeah, he pretty much bounced the ball there. And this is the thing, like the TMOs are always going to help you a little bit. I was watching the cricket the other night and I was just thinking, holy shit, man, there's so many little decisions that come down to the DRS or whatever they call it there. Sport has changed big time because it means so much more. Same with bloody, even NBA has only just got into reviews.
Yeah.
Only just.
Game changer.
Yeah, bloody game changer for a game where you're looking at someone who's pretty much just brushing somebody's forearm. Like, fouls are fucking weird.
Yeah.
Or the calling and non-calling of fouls. By the way, shout out to Nikola Jokic, the loaf of bread, the queen-size double bed, the big unit, won the NBA Finals with the Denver Nuggets. He's the best player on their team by freaking miles.
By double the other two.
Yeah, by double the other. Well, Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon, or whoever's chipping in. And then they beat the Miami Heat, who've got Jimmy Buckets, who's we mentioned on another podcast. He's going to be a billionaire because of Big Face Coffee. He just needed that one ring to say, hey man, I'm up there with the greats. Put me on the Mount Rushmore. And it's like, no, not this time. Big Serbian 7-footer says no.
And what a guy, giving hope for all us regular-looking Joes out there that maybe one day we could play in the NBA. Real quick,
for fat
McOnie.
kids as well. It's for fat kids too.
And speaking of which...
I was a fat kid, so hard to believe.
Well, you really do. Speaking of which, in a vague sort of way, you could text Topper in your region to 3236 to be in to win one of the last top... There must be only a handful of these left. Topper top-ups thanks to Leader New Zealand. A limited edition Topper warmer, Topper branded freezer full of lasagna toppers for your flat. It's pretty outrageous. I would have loved one of these as a young buck out there at Otago University. Watch the Super Rugby coverage this weekend. I'll be on that Friday night game, Crusaders vs Blues. Are you commentating on Saturday? I'm commentating on Saturday with G-Lane. It's Chiefs Brumbies. Mm-hmm. It's at FML Stadium. Is it a 7:05 kickoff? Yeah, I believe so. We're not bowing to the Australians this time. They got a 7:35 kickoff out of us the other day, and I was like, shut up, Australia. Like, now it's 7:05. It's our time against the old Brumbies, who are a sticky proposition, and they love the human centipede. But I tell you what, if you stop the rolling maul, you stop the Brumbies, it's all over. Game over. Chiefs win that one, I think. Yeah, I think Chiefs win that one as well. And the other game I will be commentating, it is the Blues versus the Crusaders at Eden Park. And I think this could have almost been a final in another world as well. No, wait. What did I say? Did you say Blues versus Crusaders versus the Blues? At Eden Park. Oh, yeah, there we go. Orange Theory. There we go. I got ahead of myself there for a second. Yeah. At Orange Theory Stadium down there in Canterbury. And I thought I'd said something horrific. I was like, have I dropped an N-bomb here? But no, I've come away unscathed. The look I was given. A minge bomb? What's an N-bomb? Oh, no, something slightly different. But no, it is down in Christchurch, the Crusaders versus the Blues. And I think that one, if it was in Eden Park, maybe I'd give the Blues more of a show. But it is down there in Canterbury. An incredible record, 28 playoff games they've played in Christchurch over whatever it is, 27 years that this competition's been on. Never, ever lost one at home. And I don't think that's about to change. As much as it pains me to say, I think the Crusaders will win that one. The mainlander and me will come out and say, I'd love to see the Blues win, but I think the Crusaders will take that one. So I think the Blues, this is the game that means everything to them. It's all they've been building up for. They're given a slam dunk of a quarterfinal. So this is going to be so close that it'll come down to one last play. I think in the regular season game, wasn't there a Mike Hoskins Satutu try, like non-try in the corner from a Bodie cross kick? It was the day we were criticising cross kicks all the time from penalty advantage, and they finally got it, and they almost did it. But anyway, I think it'll come down to something like that. So it could be a, Leicester find me an igloo. It could be a Mark Tillier special. Maybe a National Bank horse in there. National Bank horse could come through. That's Zahn Sullivan, and it's going to be less than 7 points, and there's going to be some freakish play where they will go upstairs, and you know who'll be in the TMO box? Frickin' Ardie. Ardie will decide. They're going to move him up to the TMO box, and he will decide the winner of this game. Well, and you can hear all those coming to you from the Export Beer Garden studio here at the ACC. We'll be here, and we're jazzed about it. But as for now, we're just going to take a quick break, and then I believe someone else will be back to do some sweet admin.
So Tony's left us high and dry here. He has allegedly popped off to the dentist to get a much-needed screw put in, he told me. So producer Adam here with James McOnie just back after the break. What we're going to look at is this week's TAB Good Punt. So,
while Tony goes and gets a screw at the dentist.
Yeah, I just realised how that was phrased as well. But I meant every part of what I said.
Everything sounds dirty at the dentist. Root canal, the whole lot. It's always dirty. Filling, get a good old filling, aren't you?
Yeah, no. When you lay it out like that, a bit of a brush.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Bit of a clean.
Put you under. Yeah, bit of a clean. Yeah,
and put you under. Yeah, no, all those things. Yeah, it can be construed in any which way you want, and that's a positive. I would say. So this week's TAB Good Punt. We got out looking for a bit of money. We are still trying to reach the 1,000 mark for the 5th time, I think, so far. So we've been doing pretty well here. At the moment, the account is at 838. So we just need one more win this weekend, which hopefully this can get us there. What I've gone for is Chiefs to score the first score of the game to be a Chiefs try, paying $2.90. Just thinking that against the Brumbies, it kind of makes sense. Like the Chiefs are still pretty hot. What are your thoughts on that, James? You reckon they've got a good shot there, first try?
I think first try is a good bet. How much is that paying?
$2.90.
So is it the first try, first scoring action? So no penalties, has to be a Chiefs try. Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
so that is a tough one, because you'd think that even the Chiefs would probably take a penalty to sort of break the ice from about 30 metres. The Brumbies definitely will kick the points.
Yeah, or they could be thinking about last week. They could be out to prove a point, and that was kind of where I was going. We're talking about earlier how, it was a little bit nerve-wracking in points last week. So I was just going with, they're going to come out. They're going to show the Brumbies who's boss. They're going to score a try.
Yeah, why not? $2.90, good bet.
Yeah, and then the second one, this is a much harder one as well, because there's only 2 games this weekend. It's Crusaders versus Blues, and I've gone first team to score. So it doesn't have to be the exact points in the game, because I think this is even more so at this point.
What have you gone for?
Crusaders to score the first try in the game at any time.
What's that paying?
It's only paying $1.72. It's pretty rough odds there, because that one is, as we spoke about, could really go either way. You just expect it to go Crusaders.
You do. It's a flip of the coin, that one. I mean, the Waratahs scored the first try, didn't they, against the Blues, and no one would have picked that. That's okay. I think that Chiefs bet is a better bet.
Yeah. But we've multied them up, so.
We're multi.
Yeah, we're.
Well, that's all right. That's all right. So we're up to what, like?
Well, that's what we'll get
combined?
back. What we'll get back is it's just under $400, so $398. Which what we're trying.
What's the bet? What's the return though? Is it
the return would be $4.98, so it's like a
$4.98. Yeah. Okay, that's all right.
So we're just trying to look for some money there, just trying to dish it up to the listeners, and hopefully this weekend we can get to another 1,000, which will mean that 10 lucky listeners will get an extra $100 in their TAB account.
Sweet.
So I guess all the best for the bets for the weekend.
Yeah, go for it.
Hopefully Tony comes back. I'm trying to find the right words of how he should come back from the dentist.
Well, I mean, he should. Obviously, the dentist will be doing it in his mouth, and so he can expect that. But hopefully, he's not too woozy, and his zip's done up. Look, I think that it's going to be a big, exciting weekend of footy. You can't complain, even though the Hurricanes versus Chiefs would have been a better game. I still think it's still a great one at FML. Friday night though, Blues versus Crusaders. That's got to be appointment TV. So Channel 59 on Sky. You will find who's calling that one? Is it Tony?
I know it's definitely Tony. I don't know his +1, but
Tony Lyall, and I feel like it's a Tony Lyall plus Matt Ward. No, or is it Tony Lyall plus G Lane?
Oh, G Lane could be going back to back nights. He could just be
going back to back.
He could be holding the fort down.
McOnie Stewart and Tony Lyall for the Satyrs Blues 2. Well, actually, Tony Lyall's really Highlanders / he feels. What is he? Is he a Highlanders guy?
No, he is a Highlanders guy, and you got to respect that, because he is proud to be a supporter through thick and thin, and not like others that just jump on bandwagons, you know.
McOnie Stewart, the guy fucking takes it to the line. McOnie Stewart, he's a massive Crusaders punisher from Waimate. And then you got 2 Chiefs punishers on Saturday night, and then I'm not sure what time the Warriors are, but
no Warriors this week. So it's
no Warriors. It's all bloody Champagne Rugby.
Yeah. So it's even more reason to tune in, guys. A lot of money,
heaps of money, and get your exports, line them up. I've been on the ultras lately.
Not bad, eh?
Yeah, pretty bloody good. Yeah, happy with that.
Sweet.
And
All
your
right.
toppers, your leader topper, lasagna toppers. Okay, get stuck in.
All right. Thank you, McOnie. We will see you next week, and hopefully we can have a bloody good final on our hands next week, eh?
Cheer.